Tonight is only in your arms. I don't know what to do or say anymore. It's only in your arms. I don't know what to do or say anymore. Are you feeling so alone? Shine a light. Shine a light. On your own, are you dreaming so alone? Shine a light. Shine a light. Tonight is only in your arms. I don't know what to do or say anymore. It's only in your arms. I don't know what to do or say anymore. Shine a light. Shine a light. Shine, shine, shine a
Now, in the final preps for a test flight around the moon, NASA's new Artemis rocket will one day carry astronauts back to the lunar surface for the first time since the space race with the Soviets more than 50 years ago. But today, there's a new space race. China has already put astronauts on its own orbiting space station and landed robotic rovers on the far side of the moon. Beijing's goal? To put its own astronauts on the moon by 2030. And this morning, the tension is growing after NASA Chief Bill Nelson told a German newspaper, "We must be very concerned that China is landing on the moon and saying, 'It's ours now and you stay out.'" The Chinese Foreign Ministry quickly accused Nelson of, quote, lying through his teeth, blasting the U.S. for militarizing space.
Whiskey Charlie 6, how copy? Copy. ASAT launch. Initiating threat reaction.
But top U.S. military commanders accused China of deploying a satellite with an arm and a claw that can reach out and grab U.S. satellites, and firing a missile that destroyed one of its own satellites, creating a massive debris field. The challenge, the U.S. can't see potential Chinese operations on the far side of the moon. Four-star General David Thompson at the Pentagon. Is it important that the United States has eyes on what the Chinese are doing on the far side of the moon?
We need to understand both in the lunar space and the space between the Earth and the Moon. What are they doing? Why are they doing it? Does it pose a potential threat to our interests?
A new U.S. satellite called Capstone, launched last week to study the space around the moon, has reportedly stopped communicating with Earth.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
50 years after Apollo 11 landed on the moon, an international treaty is still in effect, prohibiting military bases on the moon. The fear, if both sides aren't careful,
the Soviets might be trying to introduce a new weapon.
a military stand-up could still develop one day on the moon, as portrayed in the Apple TV series For All Mankind. Former astronaut and NASA chief Charlie Bolden.
We can't have open warfare. We've got to discipline ourselves so that we don't make this potential warfighting domain a real warfighting domain.
NASA is hoping its first crewed mission to orbit the moon will happen next year, with humans landing on the moon in 2025, including a woman and a person of color, and eventually building a moon base there, Hoda.
All right, Tom, so you mentioned that we can't see what China is up to on the far side of the moon. Why is that?
The U.S. does not have satellites that keep an eye on activity there or in the space between the moon and Earth, an area called cislunar. So launching those satellites is now a priority for the military.
All right, Tom. And we should point out, by the way, Tom recently worked on a new special with a closer look at the newest branch of the military, the U.S. Space Force. It is called Battlefield Space. Battlefield Space.
Beijing's goal? To put its own astronauts on the moon by 2030. It's ours now, and you stay out. It's ours now. Apple TV series. Tom recently worked on a new special with a closer look at the newest branch of the military, the U.S. Space Force.
Battlefield Space?
And the Apple TV series For All Mankind. It's ours now, and you stay out.